So here's another update of my EcoFlow project. You can see the smart panel there and my cable box with all the connections and so forth. Now above it is a couple of meters that are checking the power coming through the main 200 amp legs for the circuit breaker box. I just was curious, I'm only measuring part of it with the EcoFlow. The HVAC is 60 amp and that can't be controlled by the EcoFlow smart home panel. Now the other thing you see there is it's just a little video camera, baby monitor, so I can see what's on those meters from elsewhere. I don't have to run out here and look. It was getting frustrating running back and forth and checking it out. I don't really look at it that much anymore. I got a pretty good idea of what's the HVAC is drawing as it runs. So you notice the box looks bigger. It's because I've added an additional battery bank to the system, plugged it into one of the Delta Pros. I'm trying to get at least 3 hours of battery backup, between 5 and 8. That's the expensive period of electricity here. Now before 5, we're getting a reasonable amount of solar power to pay for the HVAC, but after 5, not so much. So I was just squeaking by with 2.5 hours, and I really wanted to get that full third hour in. So you can see here from the top, we got the 3 boxes. We got the one Delta Pro, the other Delta Pro connected up to the smart home panels, and then here's the add-on battery pack. I'm going to pull this out a little bit so you can see the wiring. This is the one thing I don't care for with the Delta Pros. The plug goes into the front at an angle like this, so it makes for a very difficult close quarters connection. Now in general you really need to have some space there, airflow, but I've of course got the air conditioner unit here blowing air in and sucking hot air out, so the close quarters isn't quite as much of a problem for me. And it would be nice to have this more at an angle, maybe coming up instead of straight out like it does, but it works. I had to expand the platform just a little bit to get the extra box in there. There's a little bit of space between the boxes. It's enough to provide some flow, airflow. Now you notice in the back it's really tight getting the extra battery cable from the Delta Pro over to the extra battery Delta Pro, and have to do quite a turn with that big thick cable in order to get these things back far enough to work. But it is in there and it is working. The plug you see there next to it is the plug that the previous owner used to charge her Tesla. It's a 50 amp two-phase plug. So notice that on the air conditioner I have it set at 76 degrees Fahrenheit. So I've decided I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to take it up to 85. What I want to do is, even if the batteries are running in the mid-90s, that's still within their operating range, and we might get the air conditioner to turn off now and again, which would help a lot. I'm going to show you how much power the air conditioner is using, and then the question becomes, am I getting any benefit from this thing, because the AC grinds up 900 watts an hour. So one of the biggest pieces of the pie of power being supported by the solar and the EcoFlows is this little air conditioner chugging away like this. So we'll see what that looks like, particularly as I see a couple of bills during the heat of the summer. Just to show you what we're working with here, here's the thermometer in the garage. Pretty good temperature range. So here we're looking over the top of my truck at the smart home panel and the Delta Pros in the corner of the garage that's just opposite the circuit breaker box outside. I come across the ceiling, and over here I've popped through the wall, and that goes into the laundry room, which I'll show you in just a moment. One of my thoughts is maybe moving the Delta Pros into the laundry room and using the house HVAC to keep them cool instead of that little AC unit. It's going to add a little bit of heat to the HVAC system, but I'm not sure, it's such a small percentage, I don't think it'll show off that much. So here's where the cables will run through into the laundry room. I'm thinking that what you're looking at here will point there, and then this junction box will be against the wall up here, and then the smart home panel will be right down here. We'll move some of these other things. And then I've put in some heavy-duty shelving here. I've already had the Delta Pros on the shelf. It handles them fine, so that way we will have these batteries inside where there is air conditioning. Now, this is a pretty small vent, so that's one of the things this is a pretty small vent, so one of the things I will do in the fall is increase that size and increase the size of the duct that goes to the manifold for the HVAC, so we can get more air in here. And right now, air has to go through an open door, so I'll probably put a vent right there so air can flow out of this room. The kitchen's on the other side of this door, so it'll blow some of the warm air into the kitchen, and there's adequate air conditioning in there to take care of that. Now, since wiring has to run from the smart home panel to the circuit breaker box, which is on the other side of this smart home panel, on this other side of the wall, and it goes now, the idea will be it'll go over there to that little pop through near the door. That's about 26 feet across the ceiling, and with the up and down of it, it gets very close to 45 feet to and fro, which is 90 feet that I'd be adding to every circuit. So what's that going to do? Best I can say is I'm going to measure it. I will take a spool of 10 gauge wire like I'll be running, and I'll add it to a couple of test circuits and then measure the voltage on the other end, see how much drop I get when I add 100 feet. If it's significant, I might have to bump up the gauge, well, bump down the gauge. Right now I'm running 10 gauge for 15 amp and 20 amp circuits. So the 15 amp will probably be okay, but 20 amp might require 8 amp wire, which is pretty darn stiff and tough to work with, but you got to do what you got to do. I'm curious what the Delta and the Tesla Powerwall does. They're going to be in the same boat where they got some circuit breaker boxes that are on the other side of the wall of the living room. I mean, you're not going to put the power wall in the living room, so there's going to be some wire run of it. Does that mean you're going to run the wire in the attic? I don't know. I have to do a little research there, and any comments would be welcome. Thank you. Here's what our heat is looking like here in Chandler. So you saw the temperature on the wall in the garage, and outside it's even a little hotter, and did get up to 115 today. It's starting to drift down a little bit, but yeah, it's hot and it's going to stay hot, as you can see. So for the moment, I have to stick with the little air conditioner and just let it run and keep everything cool if I want to work this thing. And we'll just, I'm really curious to see what kind of reduction in power I have using the selected time backups, restore power. And we'll see if that has an impact on the power bill. Hopefully you can see this. This is the breakout of circuit usage, and I mentioned that the bottom one, the fridge, saw little air, is using a good percentage, and if you look over here, 55.26%. So that 900 watts an hour is significant. We'll see if raising the temperature makes any adjustment to that, but in general, it just seems like a lot, and that's why I'm thinking about rewiring the thing, but we'll see.